Hi, I'm Peggy with Headshots by Peggy Presents, and I'm here with Merrick McCartha today. So today, I thought we would talk about networking.
Networking. Well, firstly, thank you for letting me come back on your show.
I know it's been a while. I've been saying, no, I don't want Merrick on the show.
I'm honored to be welcomed back in after that last debacle. I appreciate you for giving me and letting me back on. But yes, I think it's kind of started when we talked about headshots and how to use them. One of the ideas is that, well, business cards. And you're like, business cards. I don't know. I feel like some actors will still use business cards.
I don't think anybody uses business cards. I don't think anybody used business cards since before the pandemic. And now after the pandemic, I certainly don't think anybody's going to be handing me a piece of paper that they've touched or had in their pocket or.
Good point. Good point. However, it really is about the networking aspect is what I was trying to get to, which is how important it is for actors. And I think it's important for actors to realize that to be successful in this industry, you do first need to love acting. You need to love your craft, but you also really need to understand the beauty of being, I won't say business savvy, but being conscious of how to progress in the business. And a big part of that is networking.
This is a business of who you know.
It's who you know and who you have connections with. So I think I've met probably most of my acting friends I've met through working on another job. There's a few that I've met through being in the audition room together with once or maybe multiple times. And we're like great friends. There's one guy, I'll call him out. His name is Matt Bradford, who we met on set 10 years ago. And we're still really good friends to this day. But these are things that, actors, it helps you in a lot of ways. For one, it helps you improve your knowledge of the business by the networking. You get to know who's who and what's what. But also kind of gives you some ideas to inspire you to maybe go beyond what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
I think it's really important for actors to realize the importance of that. So again, love your craft first. What I don't want is to inspire actors to just for their love of being famous or their idea of being famous, to go out and try to just meet as many people as possible, try to use them to get ahead. That's not what I'm talking about.
I think the important key of networking, it's not like, I need to know you, how can you help me?
Right.
It's just, it's got to be a give and take, but you got to start with the give. Like, hey, how can I help you? What projects are you working on? A sincere, doesn't have to be a straight up quote unquote, how can I help you? But you showing an interest in the other person and an appreciation for another person. It's just basic common human decency.
It is. And again, it could be as simple as showing support, So a lot of actors do. So what are you working on next? You have something lined up. And as simple as that's awesome. I really hope you do well. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Hey, can you send me a link to that when it's done? I'd love to take a look. Things like that mean the world to people because you're showing a genuine interest in what other people are doing, what they're involved in. And this whole community of support thing is a lot of what I build on. A lot of times, I'm always seeing people doing stuff that I know or met, and I'll see them on something. I'll take a picture of my TV screen and I'll post it. Say, hey, great seeing you on this show. You look great. And people do that to me. And it's this big supportive community to let people know that, hey, this does mean something. You are making an impact. People are seeing you. You're getting noticed by someone. And so that's one of the things that can result in good networking is that community you can build.
Yeah. And I think acting, like any form of art, can be, you can look at it on two different sides. You can either look at it on, this is really hard, it's hard to make ends meet, it's hard to break in, it's hard to do all these things, or you can look at it and that I love this, I'm passionate about it, and I'm going to make it work. And I think that when you hang out with people that are doing things, moving, doing things, and getting things done, you kind of get in that vibration, kind of that flow right with them. And just in the natural scheme of things, you meet their friends, they introduce you to people, they, somebody calls you in, hey, so-and-so recommended you, blah, blah, blah. And not that you meet people or try to be friends with someone or try to network with someone for a give me, but that's just the natural progression if you build a strong foundation. And I think that starts with just real respect, just caring about listening, talking, and actually listening to what people say. I do this thing where I write notes to myself because I meet before the pandemic. We used to go out a lot and network a lot. And I meet a lot of people and people give me their number. And so in the notes in my phone, I would write down like where I met them, who they, a little bit about them. Do they have a dog? What did we talk about? Like I make little notes in my address book, in my phone. I know that you have like a memory like an elephant, so you don't have to make notes. But for me, if I don't make notes, I see that person 5 minutes later and I'm like, hi, I'm Peggy. Oh yeah, we just met. We talked for a half hour. Great. So
yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's wonderful too, is the idea that this circle of people that you're with, you tend to become more like them. So if you're in this circle of people that are constantly working as an actor, that are constantly thriving and improving themselves as an actor, you'll be in with those people and doing the same thing. That's another great way to do it too. So a lot of these actors that some of you are feeling down on yourself that you're not working as much or whatever, I think meeting other actors that are working, or just other actors in general, to encourage each other to get to that place. And you meet other actors that are at that place. And being genuine is a big part of this as well, because that's really how it works. If it's really easy to detect someone who is trying to use you to step up or do whatever. So avoid going down that path. It really is. It's kind of myopic. It doesn't really get you that far, not as far as you might think. So generally love what you do, but keep in mind the networking aspect is important. So, there are people that might come up to you that want to network with you. You may not be really that into it, but you can at least show them the decency and kindness to acknowledge them, to hear them out, and to leave that opening for them. And you can be honest. Hey, listen, I'd love to. I'm really busy for the next couple weeks on this stuff, but I'd love to perhaps sit down with you and maybe have a coffee or something like that. Those are fun things to do, but you want to be an actor that is networking for the sake of building and elevating the community as a whole, and you tend to rise up with that as well. So don't sleep on the networking. Again, it can be on set, in the audition place. It can be a lot of technology things. The Clubhouse is a big thing now.
Clubhouse is probably my favorite networking tool right
now. If you
now.
haven't been on the Clubhouse, check out the Clubhouse. It's worth it. It's surprisingly full of people that are really working in the industry, that are trying to help other actors get ahead.
I've met a ton of amazing casting directors, producers, directors, writers. I mean, I can't even think of anybody that I haven't found on there. And they're, I don't know if it's, a little bit of fatigue of not being able to see people, a year and a half in lockdown, basically. I don't know what it is, but it seems like it's just such an honest platform. And maybe I just hang out in the cool room. So maybe there's other rooms that are horrible and you're like, what? That's not how I look at Clubhouse. I mean, that is a possibility, but I've never had a negative experience. I've always gone to amazing rooms and just great tips, great advice, and the willingness to help, the willingness to give free advice that you would have to pay for. It's just an abundance of it. It's kind of like my weekly show, but all day, every day. Like you can find a room of somebody giving you tidbits of something that's useful. And that's, I'm on there with Charisse all the time. She's a commercial casting director in town, and she's called people in for commercials that she's met on Clubhouse. She says it all the time. She's like, oh yeah, I met so-and-so. I love their headshot. I love their energy. And 3 weeks later, I saw this commercial, this audition come through, this breakdown come through, and I contacted them on their Instagram, and boom. And so, things like that really do happen right now, especially. I don't know how long that's going to last, but right now Clubhouse is kind of a hot little spot.
It is very much so. But yeah, that's what I had about it, the networking, and thank you for helping me come up with that topic to go over because it's important.
It is important. Now, let's talk about networking with building relationships with casting directors. What does that look like? Because everybody says, oh, you need to build a relationship with a casting director. And I think that some people interpret that as like, I need to send them my social media. I need to send them pictures of my dogs. I need to ask them out for drinks. Like, explain what it means when you build a relationship with casting.
Well, the casting people, they're looking for, when I say relationship, it's a business relationship, not a personal one, not necessarily. So the relationship for a business relationship for a casting person is when they're working a project and they have a puzzle piece that needs to be put in, they're looking out and they want to know they can count on you as one of those good possible puzzle pieces that'll fit into the puzzle they're trying to put together. So that's the building of the relationship. They can count on you to be a good fit for this, most likely. So if you're going to audition for a casting person, you go and you do great work, you might not get the job, but they know you come in and you do great work. And that's the relationship, that when they call you, you bring in great work for them and make them look good when they show you to producers and directors. That's what I mean by building that relationship. So because you've gone in to see a casting director and you've never gotten booked 2 or 3 times, doesn't mean that you don't have a good relationship. It means they've called you in 2 or 3 times. And they do that for a reason, because they know they can count on you for this good level of work. And that's a good start for a good build of a relationship with a casting person.
Yeah, I think a misunderstanding that some people have is that if casting keeps calling you in, and you don't get booked, then you're not, then there's like castings using you or something like that. And it's no, casting really believes that you're a great actor, you have great talent, you have a great look, and they keep showing you to their clients, what about him? What about him?
Mm-hmm.
What about him?
Mm-hmm.
And how many times did you audition for NCIS?
Oh God, I felt like at least a dozen times or so.
Yeah.
Before finally booking the show. And it was always a great audition, always a great time. They were always happy to have me in. I never got a sense of failure leaving that office. I felt like I came in, I did great work. They saw that. And so they kept looking for the right role for me. And that's what you want with a relationship with the casting office.
Yeah, absolutely. So, your job as an actor is to audition. And that's the one thing you have control over is bringing an amazing audition every single time. And that's what builds trust with casting directors are like, I don't want to say the word I'm thinking would be considered in a negative, but they have amazing brains. Like they can remember people, and like for months, they're like, oh yeah, remember that headshot I saw? I put it right over here and here it is. And like I said, literally I meet you 5 minutes later. I'm like, do I know you? Yeah. So but casting directors have a gift, I think a gift and a talent for that. So if they keep seeing you come into their office and they keep seeing you're sending in great tapes, great auditions, they know that, they take note of that, and they will find a fit for you eventually. So don't get frustrated. Every audition is a win.
Every audition is a win, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Merrick, for hanging out with me on camera.
My pleasure. Again, glad to be back. And hopefully I'll be back again at some point soon, and we can rebuild our relationship on the show.
Yeah, because Merrick felt like during the pandemic he was my only live guest, so I wanted him on all the time. And so I abandoned him for all my cool Zoom guests. So now he has decided to come back and hang out with me on camera. Anyway, as you probably already know, I am now a podcast. How cool is that? So if you listen to podcasts, find Headshots by Peggy Presents and subscribe, because I'm still a baby podcaster. So every subscription really means a lot to me. So subscribe. I upload every single week, just like I do on YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else, my website. So please leave the tons and tons of comments. Tell Merrick how much you appreciate him hanging out with us again, so he'll come back. And most importantly, share it everywhere, of course. But most importantly, have an amazing week. I'll see you next week.
Text or call today so that we can get you effective headshots that you can use as part of your marketing strategy. Headshots by Peggy, how can I help you?